All right. Well, good evening, everybody. It's Meteorologist Ansley Parker here, and we are going to take a little bit of an extended dive into the forecast because, believe it or not, we actually have some rain chances in the forecast for the first time in a while. So you may already know we are under a weather impact alert for this time frame. So it extends from tonight into early tomorrow morning. The reason that we have the weather impact alert is just to throw it on as many people's radar as possible that we actually have a good shot of rain for the first time in a while. Not only that, but if you've got an early morning commute for tomorrow morning, it may be a little bit of a messy morning. I do want to emphasize, and I will probably say this a lot throughout the live stream as people are joining, this is not a severe weather risk. We do not have a risk of severe weather. We actually don't even really have a risk of storms either. So I really want to emphasize that point. Sometimes I know with the weather impact alert being in place, it can be confusing, especially when you see rain outside. You don't need to kind of set alerts or anything like that for overnight tonight. There is no severe weather risk. And again, I am just going to be repeating that a lot throughout the stream. So if you hear me say it and sound like a broken record, I'm just trying to reiterate it for people who might be joining us a little bit late. But regardless, there's still rain in the forecast. So let's go ahead and take an extended look about what we can expect tonight. And then there is going to be another rain chance heading into next weekend as well. So let's talk about that. Also, I'm going to go ahead and take these graphics full screen and we can jump right into it. So right now we're looking at the Skycam over downtown Macon, but I actually want to look at all four of the Skycams. So I'm going to flip up the 4-camera view here, and I think they're all going to show us a pretty similar situation. The rain has begun to move into our region, so a lot of the Skycams now have some raindrops on them because this is kind of the beginning of our widespread rain event that's going to be with us through early tomorrow morning. So that's what you're looking at right now. Obviously, we have some rainfall in downtown Macon and in Perry as well. Just because there's not raindrops on the Skycam doesn't mean that we haven't necessarily seen rain yet in Warner Robins and in Dublin. But we're kind of in this on and off lighter shower pattern until kind of the main rain starts to move in later this evening. So that's what the Skycams look like right now. If we kind of take a look at the headlines here for what we can expect for the rest of tonight, these are just your take-home points for the forecast right now. Obviously, it's going to be of a little bit of a wet drive into work tomorrow morning. It's also going to be chilly all week long, so temperature-wise, if you're kind of wondering how things are going to be, it's going to be a lot like what you see or saw today, and it's kind of going to continue that pattern into most of the week. There is another rain chance coming into this weekend, so if you've got interest in the weekend, just be aware of that, and we'll talk more about that in just a minute. So here's the temperatures across the board. One of those kind of backdoor front patterns is set up across the state of Georgia. You can tell just from the temperature difference between downtown Macon and Vidalia. We're in what we call a wedge pattern. So it's keeping our numbers a little bit cooler. It's keeping us locked in under some cloud cover. And we've been dealing with that for the last couple of days. It even goes as local as just our area. Our southern counties are a lot warmer than our northern counties, and we even had a bigger spread throughout the day today and yesterday. Temperatures, though, mainly, no matter where you are, in or outside of the wedge, are somewhere in the upper 40s to mid 50s. And we won't really see these move a ton throughout the rest of the night tonight. Overnight lows are only going to get down into the low 40s, so that will be fairly similar to average for this time of year. And of course, I think temperatures will not really quite be our biggest focus. The rainfall probably will be. So we will have rain all night tonight. And I actually think that the bulk of the rain is probably going to occur while you're sleeping tonight. As you wake up, obviously we'll still be dealing with stuff, but it does move out pretty quickly. So I threw on good sleeping weather because I do think that it will be nice as you kind of lull yourself to sleep later tonight. We'll have a lot of the rain moving in. So let's just jump into it. Here is the current satellite radar big picture to show you what's going on across the area. Here in the southeast, we have a low pressure system that's moving off of the Gulf, and it is heading onshore, bringing along a lot of showers. You'll notice in all of this weather, there is not a lot of lightning or anything like that. This is mainly a rainfall event. We don't really have the ingredients that we need for severe weather or really any type of thunderstorm at all. You've probably heard this system being talked about. It's a part of the larger system that's up towards the north that's bringing this kind of widespread snowfall event across some of the northern states. So you probably heard this circulated around in the news over the last couple of days. Luckily for us, it is not a snowfall event. It's just going to bring us some much needed rainfall totals. So this is what our state looks like right now. Obviously, over the last hour or so, the rainfall has really started to progress, and we're now seeing what's going to be more widespread rain for the rest of the night. Up in North Georgia, they're not there just yet. Actually, this front is moving a bit opposite to what we're used to having. It's coming in from the southwest. So it's going to start with us as opposed to starting with North Georgia. So let's take a look at where we stand right now. Obviously, we've had locked in cloud cover for most of the evening. Now we're starting to see this light rain enter our area. Most of it looks to be over in our western counties. Like I said, it's got a southwesterly movement, so it'll be hitting the southwestern counties first, but almost everybody, aside from what looks to be Johnson County and parts of Treutlen County, have got some rainfall at this time. Our northern counties have a lot of really light rain. The colors on the map indicate kind of how heavy the rainfall is. So the really green colors, that's just really light rain, maybe even drizzle at most. The yellows and the reds, that's where the heavier rainfall is right now. And again, it's coming in from the southwest. So a lot of that heavier rainfall is still making its way into our area. But we are starting to see it. Definitely seeing some of the more widespread rain out in our western counties. Let's see if I can zoom this in here. Such as kind of, whoa, I did not mean to do that. I'm sorry about that. I clicked on the wrong tool and did a totally unnecessary wind cross-section of the rainfall there. But there is a look at the rain in the western counties, which is actually what I was trying to show you. Upson County, Taylor County, Macon, and Crawford counties look to have the heaviest rainfall right now. And again, it's working its way towards the east. So we'll keep seeing this take over more areas throughout the rest of the night. So let's look at the future view, talk about where that stands for the rest of this evening. I'm going to sound a bit like a broken record because it's a pretty straightforward story here. This rain moves in and then we see it in the late night hours and overnight tonight. This is 3 a.m. Tuesday morning, which you're looking at right now. That's kind of why I say I think the bulk of this will occur while you're sleeping. The heaviest rain probably is going to happen in those really early morning hours. So unless you have a morning commute like me or meteorologist Alex Pry and you've got to be out the door at 3 a.m., then you should be actually okay in terms of commute times. 5 a.m., if you've got a really early morning commute, I'm talking around 5 to 7 a.m., we'll use that window. There's still going to be a lot of widespread heavy rainfall. No matter where you are, no matter what county you're in, this is still going to have really good coverage around that time frame. As we get past 7 a.m., so more in that 7 to 9 a.m. time frame, a lot of this rain will be trying to work its way out or at least transitioning over into a light rain. I obviously still think there's going to be some rain out there, but the hope is that it's trying to get its way out of here. So by the time we get closer to the mid-morning, let's say 9, 10 to 11 a.m., that's when a lot of this rain will actually be working its way out of the area. You see how quickly it moves on. So we deal with this through most of the morning, again, through kind of the morning commute time. The earlier your commute is, the messier it's going to look, but I do think that most places, no matter what time your commute is, are going to see some form of rain. So we know what that does for traffic. Obviously, people have to slow down. There's just generally a lot more traffic. It can be a little bit of a headache. So that's kind of why we're throwing it out there with the weather impact alert. But by the time you get to Tuesday afternoon, a lot of this rain will have moved on. It's a pretty quick rainfall event, at least in the time that we're awake, and it moves on by Tuesday afternoon. So definitely a wet commute to work, but the way home from work is going to be a totally different story. In fact, you'll probably be able to see the sunshine on your way home from work. It'll be clearer skies, and we won't have as much of the rainfall like we're expecting to have right now. So that's kind of how things look on the future view here. Just while I'm here, I am checking the comments, so if you have any questions about this, obviously it's a pretty straightforward forecast, but if you do have any questions about it, feel free to comment, and I can see the Facebook comments. So that's what Tuesday looks like. After Tuesday closes out, we go into Wednesday, which is going to be one of the only dry days on the 7-day forecast. We stay dry through all of Wednesday, and then as we enter Thursday, rain chances come back to our forecast once again. There's going to be rain chances Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and potentially Sunday. So for the first time in a while, our 7-day looks a lot different than it has over the last couple of weeks. We've got a couple of days of chances to get some rainfall, and that's really good because we need to get some solid rain chances on the board so that we can get some solid rainfall totals on the board. So this is the rainfall totals throughout overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning. You're looking at, in the highest areas, the highest amounts, close to 2 inches of rain, if not over, if this may be slightly under projecting. And this is definitely the most substantial rainfall totals that we've had over any rainfall event in the past almost 2 months now. So this is really good. We need this. If you may remember, we are in drought conditions across most of the area. Some areas worse than others. Our northern counties are sitting under moderate drought, but honestly, most of the area is sitting under a severe drought. So we need as many rainfall totals as we can get. I'm not sure how much this is actually going to do for correcting this, but I definitely think it's going to keep us away from the red category that you see on there, which is actually extreme drought. So again, anything helps. We'll take what we can get. Close to 2 inches of rain is definitely better than the less than half an inch of rain that we've seen over the last couple of events. So that's good. But then again, we've got more rain chances later this week. So if that's not enough, we'll hopefully keep adding more as we go through the rest of the week. Thursday right now does not necessarily look to be a washout. We've got a couple of light showers, probably not going to be our best shot of rain, but Friday heading into early Saturday morning looks to be another shot at widespread rain. So this is the long range, obviously. We don't have a lot of specific details about how much we're going to see or exactly when it's going to occur, but the agreement has been kind of centered around sometime Friday afternoon or evening into the overnight hours into early Saturday morning. So if you've got interest in the weekend, especially Friday night and Saturday morning, just keep checking back as you kind of know the drill. Once we get the short range models, we get some higher resolution data, get a little more information about this, get the long range models to be on board with each other. We'll have a lot more details. For right now, we've got this kind of penciled in rain chances saying there is a good chance we're going to see some form of rain this weekend. We just kind of need a few more details to nail down exactly what time frame that's going to be. But hopefully, I will say that some of the models have been trending towards this moving out by Sunday. I'm hoping that that will be the case and that we can have at least one dry day of the weekend because a lot of the models were showing the weekend being a total wash. So them trending in this direction of Sunday actually being a clear day is good news there. So with what we can expect to see, obviously tonight, a lot of the models are in agreement, close to 2 inches in the heaviest spots, but just to kind of give you some hope and something to hold on to also about the end of the week, we're expected to get another good widespread rain chance with that second rain chance that's on the way for this weekend. So when this whole thing is said and done, by the time we get to early next week, we could have actually some pretty decent rainfall totals across our counties. And again, we need everything we can get with the drought conditions we have across the area. So this is the long range future view rainfall prediction. This accounts for every single rainfall event that I just kind of talked about there in the forecast. So I wanted to show you that just to also kind of talk about the weekend. I know a lot of people are going to be interested in that. And also it just does give us another shot at seeing some good widespread rainfall that we could need to have some pretty good rainfall totals. So honestly, again, with no real threat of storms, rainfall is kind of the only thing to really be touching on here. I can also just show you this to kind of wrap this all up in a little bit of a bow. But it's overnight tonight into early Tuesday morning. We're going to have some heavy rainfall, and the roads may be looking a little bit messy. It's not a big deal at all. This is not something that we're not used to seeing. The only reason that we're kind of throwing it out there and bringing your attention to it a little bit extra is just because we are in this dry spell where we haven't had a rainfall event like this in a while, and we just wanted to make everybody aware of what this thing was really going to do. So you'll keep seeing the rainfall become a bit more widespread into the rest of this evening, and then overnight tonight, if you happen to be up really early in the morning, there'll be a lot of rain hitting your roof, and as you head to work in the morning, there obviously will be a lot of rain out on the roads as well. That's kind of the gist. That's really all you need to know about it. I will keep checking the Facebook chat, but I haven't seen anything specific question-wise about this whole event, which I completely understand. It's pretty straightforward, but I will check one more time just to make sure I'm not missing anybody's question. And if that's all we got, then I think that we can wrap this up, and we'll have any updates or anything like that coming up at 10 p.m. On 13 WMAZ Plus on the CW, and then of course for 13 WMAZ News at 11. And hopefully we can just kind of get this weather impact time frame over with minimal impacts. I still don't see any questions here. So with that, I think I am going to keep this nice and short, and we will end it here. I'll kind of leave the radar up here, But thank you for joining us for this kind of extended look at the forecast. Of course, you can join us for more coming up at 10 and at 11. If we don't see you there, have a great and have a safe night.